Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for coming back from break. Well, I have a story to tell you this morning. This is Sean O'Dell, fantastic guy from Walt Disney World. He was going to be here this morning and speaking, but around about early evening, yesterday evening, he gave me a call and said, I'm really sorry to tell you I cannot be here. He is devastated and he would love to be here, and he has promised that he's going to make this happen again at another time. So, sorry that we don't have Sean O'Dell, but you can imagine what it's like when you run a conference and your keynote speaker tells you at 6 o'clock in the evening, I'm so sorry, this is out of my control, I cannot be here. It's pretty tough. So I told you before, I have this great group of amazing people that I work with in this industry, and so I went to them and said, what can we do here? So if you haven't already met Melissa, this is Melissa Benoit, and she's going to change the vibe in this room and talk to us about vibe coding today. And there's something else you should know. So she's a badass, right? That she literally prepared this keynote last night to talk to you, to show you something as cool as vibe coding, which is incredibly topical and everyone is interested in. But not only that, it's also her birthday. So let's welcome her to the stage and all sing happy birthday to her. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Melissa. Happy birthday to you. Woo. All right, so before she free falls into this keynote, let me tell you a little bit about Melissa. She's worked for nearly every software development role, dev, test, DevOps, program management at companies big and small and somewhere in between. She's created and run high availability, high quality services at PlayFab, Bing, Cortana, Xbox One, and now for mParticle, which has recently become Rocked. And on their enormous data platform. Melissa discovered her love of massively scaled systems while growing the Bing backend, where she honed the art of keeping highly available, complex systems up while undergoing significant code churn. Now, she's currently the VP of Engineering at Rocked. She's passionate about not only maximizing efficiency both in her products and code, in her development tools, but also in sharing the best practices among her colleagues and the tech world at large, which means you guys. So, Melissa, thank you very much. Give her all the support in the world for doing this at such short notice. And something as cool as you're going to see her doing some stuff live on stage. So, huge round of applause. Thanks, Melissa.
Vibe time? It's vibe time. All right, and so I know you were all looking forward to some real Disney magic. So I thought I would let you know that this story actually begins at Disney. So not Disney World, Disneyland. And in the dark, old, ancient, historical times of STAREAST 2024, which was at the Disneyland Hotel, I was sitting outside after a long conference day working on some code. I had some code I was giving for a session later, and I just needed to get this one Docker thing working so that I could present it the next day. So I was sitting outside with a bunch of other speakers, Jason Arbon, Tariq, Andy Knight. We were all hanging out, and I said, we're going to go to drinks, but I just need to finish this one thing. And Jason, who's a big AI guy, says, well, how are you doing? I said, oh, I'm doing cutting-edge AI stuff. Look. I'm going to Bing and accessing Copilot, and I'm copy-pasting my error messages in and copy-pasting those back into my IDE. And I'm like, I'm going to have this done pretty soon. Look how amazing this is. And so Jason said, that's cool, but that's like last month's cutting edge. Again, October 2024. You should really try this new thing called Cursor. And I'm like, I'm not installing a thing. You're going to hack my machine, man. He said, no, Cursor. It's a fork of VS Code. And it's all what the cool kids are doing now. It lets you get your integration directly in the IDE. It uses some cool new text so that it just is aware of all the context of what you're trying to do. And I said, I don't trust you, dude. So Jason said, look, I'll bet you a drink tonight. If you install Cursor, you're going to solve this problem in 10 minutes. And I said, yeah, bet's on, because I'm going to solve this problem in 10 minutes by myself, and you're going to owe me a really fancy, overpriced Disney drink. So I'm sitting there, and I'm typing, and 10 minutes go by, 20 minutes go by, 40 minutes go by, 70 minutes go by, and everybody's kind of hanging around, getting ready to go. And Jason's looking at me, and I'm not looking at him. And so finally, I was like, oh, I'll just download this thing. What could go wrong? So I was in VS Code anyway, and Cursor has a fork, so it was trivial to just load my stuff up. And I unfortunately had to owe Jason Arbon a couple of drinks, because I did, in fact, boot my code up into Cursor, tell it what the problem is, and within the first 7 minutes, it said, yeah, here's the issue with your Docker context, which I didn't even think to look at. And your code is all fine. It's just this 2-line change. Here you go. You're working. 7 minutes, 70 minutes. And I thought I was doing the right thing. But it turns out I'd already fallen behind state of the art, and it happened so fast. So what we're going to talk about today is how to make vibe coding be your superpower. How can you avoid a Jason Arbon moment so you don't have to owe him a whole bunch of drinks, and be able to really take work that used to take weeks, ages to do, get it done in minutes. So we've really passed a threshold. And as much as we might talk about, you can't go back. We cannot put this genie back in the bottle. We have passed a threshold. More and more people are doing this. The expectation is there. We saw it from Donna. Look at the CEOs running their orgs this way. We can't go back to the pre-AI world, but what we can do is get on top of it, ride the crest of that wave as AI continues to grow and continues to level up. So what in the world is vibe coding? How many of you have seen the memes? Yeah, we've seen the memes. We've seen the guy who said, I vibe coded this site, and then later, stop hacking my site. Right? Yeah, vibe coding is just fast, conversational improvisation with the AI. You're just talking to it like you'd talk to the world's smartest and fastest intern. Because let's be real, if you're working with an AI agent, it is like the world's smartest and fastest intern. Who here has managed an intern? Yeah. What do interns not know? Anything about your business, or about how to work, or about what good looks like. They don't know any of that, but they really are eager to please. They really want to please you. And that is what it's like when you're coding with your AI agent. It knows a lot of stuff about what it got schooled in. It knows nothing about your context. It knows nothing about your business. It doesn't even know what good looks like. But you can talk to it, and you can work with it, and you can, in incremental chunks, teach it. Here's what good looks like. Here's what we're trying to do. Here's what you need to know. So instead of having to do a big traditional, we're going to write a really big spec, and it's going to take a few weeks, and we're going to get it reviewed, and then we're going to set up this big development environment, and we're going to do all this highly regulated, controlled stuff. When you're vibe coding with an intern, your AI intern, it's just a conversation. You're just talking back and forth. You're iterating, just like you would with a work buddy, just like you would in pair programming. You're just iterating really quick, and you can just start. And together, you are guiding this AI intern into doing much better work than it would do alone, and its returning responses much faster to you than you could ever go and look up by yourself. Who here knows going copy-pasting out of Stack Overflow? Right? The good old days. You didn't know what you do, so you went to Stack Overflow, and you looked, and you're like, oh, that seems right, and you copy-pasted it in. This is like that on steroids. Can it be wrong? Yeah. Can it introduce crazy vulnerabilities into your code? Also, yeah. So just like you wouldn't necessarily trust anything on Stack Overflow, but you're still going to maybe try it anyway, you totally can't trust anything this thing's going to do, but maybe we're going to just try it anyway. So why am I telling this to a room of testers? Because you are the closest person when you're shipping software to the customer. You are the customer's advocate. You know you are the last line of defense before your users run into some crazy thing that doesn't work or doesn't solve their problems, right? Nobody is closer to the product and the customer than you. And that context that you have in your brains is a superpower. Devs don't know what the customer's doing. How many of them are actually like thinking about it? They're working code. Product knows that stuff, but they're 0% technical. So you, the testers, you have technical chops. Even if you're not writing code every day, you think about systems. You think about the product. You think about the customers. With a little bit of juicing up from an AI agent, you are extremely well suited to be getting in there with the code and taking advantage of it. You are the customer's advocate. You can move really, really, really fast this way. So this is Cursor. Yes, they only have 30 employees. They were also one of the first companies with only 30 employees to pass, what was it, a $10 billion market cap, which is nuts. Think of the revenue per employee. That's nuts. So yeah, they do vibe code, most of Cursor's. Sometimes Cursor is really broken. So you don't ever take an update of Cursor unless you're like, oh, I can waste a few 20 minutes today maybe. I was giving a talk on MCPs, the Model Context Protocol servers, 2 weeks ago, and as I had made the mistake of uploading Cursor, it broke the MCP interaction layer. That was great. So you have to be careful with Cursor and updates, but Cursor is also super fast. They were the very first agentic agentic IDE that comes built in with a RAG. What is a RAG? We'll talk about it in a second. But they know everything about your code as you load it in. It's not autocomplete. Who here has used GitHub Copilot's autocomplete? Which was so cool, but that's not state of the art anymore. Does that mean that Cursor's gonna win? No. Next month, Copilot could blow it out of the water. This stuff changes so fast. So what I'm telling you today is what I'm doing right now. Doesn't mean it's gonna be the best next month, doesn't even mean it was the best last month. There's a lot of tools out there. Windsurf is out there. Copilot just released the agentic stuff. So this is anybody's game, but I gotta pick one, man, so we're gonna do Cursor. So I said the word RAG. What is a RAG? This is the most AI technical thing I'm gonna talk about. So RAG is basically your context and constraints layered over the top of all the generic stuff the LLM knows, right? If you think of the LLM as a knowledge store of everything on the public internet, a RAG is just the stuff you care about. It's your code. It's the things you've trained on. So a RAG makes the responses a lot smarter. From generic whatever about whatever that seems good on the internet to, no, this is relevant to your context. So if you're a tester, think about it. You could build your own RAG. Building a RAG is actually pretty easy. Feed it all your bug reports. What are the bugs we've been generating in this code base? So obviously feed it the code. You could feed all kinds of things into context, and suddenly your IDE or your system that's talking to the RAG is way smarter about not just generic stuff. Generic stuff is fine, but like any intern knows generic stuff. We need to make it smarter about our stuff. How does our application work? What is our architecture? Who are our users? How do they interact? How do we test this? You know, there's many valid ways to test something, which we'll play with a little later. But there's a lot of valid choices. There's no one right or wrong, so you need to know what are our valid choices. Because you can't just put model A on top of model B and expect them to work. You're gonna get crazy stuff. So you now have, with Cursor, even if you don't write a single line of code, you have the ability to have a QA assistant intern who can go and fetch whatever information you want out of your actual code, out of your actual bug reports, whatever you feed it, and tell you stuff about it. Interact with it, make little changes. Even if you don't write a single line of code, you can learn way more and way faster as long as you tell it to cite its sources and know that 5 to 10% could be made up. But 90% will be accurate. 90% will be accurate-ish. So that's a lot, that's fast, and you can have that in seconds. You don't need to know where in the code base. You don't need to know anything about it. You can just find out through the LLM feeding it to you, through your IDE. So I love, I love The Lord of the Rings, and I love this quote. It really rung in my head that minute that I was sitting at Disney from Galadriel. Right? The world has changed. I feel it in the water. I feel it in the earth. I smell it in the air. The world has changed. We can't go back. The AI revolution is here, for better, for worse. Right? There's a lot of smoke and there's a lot of hype, but some things are real. And what I'm about to show you is real. I've written hundreds of thousands of lines of code this way. And I hadn't been writing code in my career for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. I wrote 0 lines. Is it the most magical, best code ever? No, but does it solve my problems? Yeah, right? So as soon as The RAG stuff came out as soon as the latest GPT, starting with GPT-4. The work with GitHub, like we've hit a level up, a huge stepwise function. None of this stuff existed 6 months ago. I could not have given this talk at StarWest because it didn't exist. And now I'm about to show you stuff that in 6 months at StarWest again is probably going to be completely obsolete. It's probably not going to, we're going to be like, yeah, remember the old days when the AI would lie to you? Or when you only had one agent running, now we have 12. I don't know what's going to happen, but all I know is the world is changing so fast, and the old way of doing things are disappearing. So my CEO said the same things the Shopify CEO said. We're an AI-first company. We're leaning in on AI. This is coming. You know, it'll come first for the Silicon Valley tech companies that think they're like VC funded, they're at the pinnacle, but it'll flow down, and it'll flow down fast. And so what I want from all of you is not to be afraid, right? I hear all the time, I'm not a dev, I don't want to be in the code, I don't want to do these things. That's okay, you don't have to be a dev. Nobody's asking you to be a dev. But the AI is here to help you. Code is just a tool like any other. And becoming less and less arcane and less difficult to understand to people who aren't in it every day. So you can right now, today, generate tests from code, generate specs, generate test plans, prototype fixes, write little tiny tools that help, just a little Python script. I was doing performance reviews, and one issue we've always had with performance reviews is showing metrics and impact, because that's lame and nobody ever has time to do all the things. So I asked Cursor to help me. And I said, hey, I want to go look at all the commits from the last 6 months, and I want to find commit velocity, if there was a commit velocity change. And it said, sure, here's a script to go call the GitHub API for you, and it's going to output a CSV. Cool. And it said, now go put it in Excel. So I copy-pasted my CSV into Excel, and it said, here's some Excel functions to write that are going to break it up by month and are going to give you the commit count per month. I hate writing Excel functions. I don't like writing them. I don't know how they work. Who likes writing Excel functions, right? Who's like, yes, function, blah, 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 blah. No, it's awful, and there's no documentation. You have to go and search, and the first 3 responses are wrong, and then one is for Excel 97, and then another one is for Sheets, which is a totally different beast, and renames things for no reason. It's awful. But it told me what to do. It generated the function for me. We iterated a little, because the first one wasn't quite right, and in maybe 2 hours, I had our commit velocity metrics that I could use for the performance review reports for myself, for my org, as a part of the overall executive review. I've never been able to do that. It would have taken me weeks, back and forth, having to go search something and then coming back. It would have taken me ages, and it was just never important enough to do. But now I could do it in 2 hours, and I don't know how to write Excel functions. I don't write Python. I don't do any of that stuff. But I know what good looks like. I know what good looks like, and so do all of you. You are testers. Testers know what good looks like. Testers know what good looks like. And that is your magical, magical, magical superpower when it comes to coding with AI. Because the AI has no idea what good looks like, but it knows the code. You might not know the code, but you sure as hell know what good looks like. You put that together, and that is so, 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 so powerful. So just start. Ask it some questions. Tell it to cite its sources so that you can go and check. Hey, where did you get that information exactly? Trust, but verify. I've had devs use it, and they're asking it things like, hey, for our partner, where are their servers? Can you tell me where they are? And it invented a whole new one in Singapore. So, you know, including a broken link that didn't go anywhere. So click the links. Don't trust it. It just gave you a link. Actually click it. But most of those are real. They're true. You can find that information out pretty quickly. You can verify. So y'all are really good at verifying stuff. Use that to help yourself and your orgs be so much faster and so much more effective. There's no substitute for just trying it. I can tell you, so we're going to play with some stuff here in a minute, but there is no substitute to just try. See what happens. See what you get. Your first few times, you're not going to know how to talk to it. You're not going to be specific enough, or you'll be too specific. The keys to talking with any AI are to maintain context, right? What is it that you need to know? What is important to you? And constraint. Here is what good looks like. Don't do any of these other things. I want you to do this and only this. It's going to take you a while to master setting the right context and setting the right constraints, and that's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to learn. The only way to learn, in my opinion, is to make mistakes. So do it. Do it badly. Make some real garbage. You're going to be like, oh no, this is really bad. But then you're going to iterate. And over time, as you iterate, the code's going to get better, you're going to get better, and everything will get faster until one day you're like, yep, we're just pounding out a couple hundred lines of test code. I have some checks in here that keep it within the rails, and I told it needed to compile, and these need to pass, and I'm just sipping a coffee, and I'm waiting, and I'm watching while it's doing all my work for me. And I'm just supervising, because I've trained my interns so well that I can just supervise. And my supervising is magical, right? Without my supervision, that intern is going to do something crazy. They're going to do something real crazy. They're going to delete the Git repo. You don't know. They might think it's a good idea. So your supervision is magical in keeping everything staying on the rails. So that was a lot of talking. I promised not too much talking. Who's ready for some vibes? Yeah, all right, let's go. So remember that this is all live. I'm going to make sure I am tethered properly. All right, let's do it. Here we go. This is Cursor. So welcome to Cursor. Welcome to an IDE. This is open on a very simple app. If you've taken some of my really old tutorials on Docker, you might recognize this code base or this really beautiful front end, because you'll notice one of the things that was listed in my experience set was not front end engineering. So here is a really gorgeous website, and we're going to mess with it. We're going to do stuff with it. So this is a little simple recipe holder. You can put recipes in it, and that's it. That's really all you can do. You can just put recipes in it. You can log in, log out. So it's running right now. We can look at, here's some recipes. They exist. We can see them. Hooray, so fancy. We can run it here locally. We're going to kill it right now. And we're going to do some changes. We're going to change the color of the website. What color should it be? Blue? I heard blue. OK. Needs to be, so I want this website to be blue, all the pages, but it still needs to be legible, so figure it out. It's going to figure it out. I don't know. So now it says, ooh, what branch are we on? Master. OK. Looking for things. I didn't notice I didn't even tell it where the website was. This is, it loads everything. This is the front end, the back end, the database, all kinds of stuff is loaded up right now. So it's trying to find where my website is. Oh, it, found my CSS. Oh, apparently I'm using Bootstrap. I don't know, this is old code. Looking for the color, it's thinking about it, searching the code base, searching for color. Oh, we found a CSS. Promising, promising. Notice I didn't tell it what color blue. We're gonna get something, it's gonna be interesting. Oh, here's a change. Ooh, deep blue, we're gonna get a really old terminal look. All right. But notice I did not constrain it to what color blue. I did not tell it light blue, dark blue. I just said it's gotta be legible, it's gotta be blue. It's a choice, it made a choice. I don't know. Still generating, still going. It's gonna build it because it doesn't know where I am. It's gonna build it and it's gonna run tests because I've told it part of the criteria for success is you have to build and you have to run tests. Cool, it built, test ran, fantastic. We're gonna talk a little bit about how I've constrained it while it is deploying. So now it's gonna build and deploy. It takes about 30 seconds. So you notice it did all kinds of stuff. Oh, but now it committed for me because that's also part of the constraints. Oh, we can open a pull request. We're gonna hold that thought before we make a pull request. We're gonna like look at it, right? Because just because it compiles and test pass, I don't know, could be good, maybe not. It's building. So you'll notice a few things, right? It automatically checked my branch. It did not change branches. It checked my branch, it didn't change a branch. It automatically ran the test and the build. Did I tell it to do that? No, but I have constrained it with a set of rules. So I have a rule here that says, make please the smallest possible change because it can go bananas if you let it. A coding session between us is not satisfied until the build compiles and all the tests pass. I've told it that, so this is always something that the agent is being told. Oh, we're up. Also things about check if you're on a branch. You should make a new branch, but it didn't, because sometimes it doesn't understand what you're telling it. Yeah, that's okay. It's fine. All right, so let's see what happens. We're running. That's sort of blue. Okay, so it made my text blue, because I didn't tell it what needed to be blue. I just said make it blue. So it did. As a choice, made my text blue. Reasonable. So it wants to make a pull request. I'm going to say no. Color is still white. I want it to be in dark navy blue. I think the CSS isn't loading how it thinks it is. Did pest tests again. Said, I think the CSS isn't loading from there. Where else could the page background color be set? Didn't see the last color you set it to. Right? It did something. It seemed like it was right, and I have to tell it, I don't think it's quite right, friend. We'll shut this down. Now it's going to go and see where else that could be loading from. It's looking, it's looking, it's looking. Could be in my layout, it's true. Right? So its first guess was a reasonable guess. I'm not going to complain, but not quite right. In development mode, my site loads this one. In production, it loads this one. So here's why. I need to do that. No, you need to do that. I'm not doing that. Why would I do that? Sometimes it makes a mistake and you have to help it. There, see, it's just doing stuff. There, did some stuff on the command line for me for some reason. It's adding that file now, I guess. We're gonna build it again. Okay, so it says the minified CSS is now also there and includes the background I wanted. So now my site should look correct in both development and production environments. Good catch, good try. Anything I want, or should I open a pull request? Sure, open a pull request. Sure, why not? Oh, now it detected I was on the wrong branch, but it already merged all my changes, so we'll see what it does about that. So we're calling it MCP here. It opened a pull request. Let's see what it did. It did, in fact, look, it opened a pull request for me. It's got a nice title. This PR updates the website color scheme to use a very dark navy, does these things, all tests pass. Oh yeah, here's a change, all right. So it just opened a pull request for me, but let's actually see if it works. Could have found it, let's see. Nope. Ah, there it is, beautiful. Look at this gorgeous display, it's excellent, did a great job. But most importantly, it met my requirements, right? This is what I told it to do. So it did do exactly what I told it to do, no more and no less. Does that mean it's good? No, but it is correct. It's only as good as what I gave it. So cool, we have this thing, we made a pull request. Remember, I don't write front-end code. I don't know where any of this stuff lives. I did not open one line of code, I did not tell it, and I got what I asked for. How long did that take us? Where are we at? 5 minutes? 5 minutes, the pull request is open, the script is written. So let's do something a little more interesting. So I have already asked it, because I don't want you guys to watch it doing stuff, because that's boring. I have already asked it to make some specs for me. So like Donna mentioned, the key to interacting successfully with any AI agent especially is using specs to guide and constrain its work. So I already made a spec here, it's markdown. It made it, I didn't make it, I don't write nothing here. I said, go figure out what is the architecture of this application and write it out to a spec. So it did, and it said, here's what it's for. It made some guesses, they're pretty accurate. Here's the high-level architecture. There is a front end, there is a back end, there is some SQL, there is some NoSQL. Here's how you run it. Here's the data structures, access patterns, architectural concerns. open questions that it didn't know, which is fine. So this is a really good capture of what my app does. So the reason this is important is because I don't want to have to scan my whole code base every time and figure that out every time I want to talk to it. I just want to be able to shortcut. Look, you just need to know this. Here's some of your really important context about how my application works. Not how other people's stuff works. I don't care how other people's stuff works. It needs to know how my stuff works. So we're going to go back to the master branch. It's fine. And we are going to open a new chat. So one thing we are going to do, I already have one here in case it goes crazy, but we're going to say, hey, based on this architecture, can you tell me what kind of tests we have so far? And if this is adequate. Is not adequate. Well, no, I'm just going to ask it this opinion, and we'll do more in a minute. Stop it. If this testing is adequate. Oh no, we'll see what it does. So it's going to go look at my whole app. It's going to look at the architecture. It's going to go find my tests and tell me how good's the testing. There, see, it's listing my tests now, my unit tests, more unit tests, my integration tests, more integration tests, a lot of integration tests, even more integration tests, so many integration tests. And now it's reading my architecture document, and it's explaining to me what they are. So we'll do a little bit of reading here, blah, blah, blah. What kind of tests do we have? Unit tests. We have unit tests with the core logic. We have some UI tests for the front end. We have some API tests for the back end that cover some things. Yeah, that's true. We have some integration tests. Yep, that's also true. Is this adequate? Coverage across layers, yeah. Good separation, good model and API testing, potential gaps, no UI tests, true. No tests on this thing that doesn't exist, also true. No coverage of authentication, no backup restore data migration, okay, I guess. Yeah, so it says it's okay. But it's just okay. So we're gonna ask it to do something else, which is, I actually cheated a little bit and copy pasted something. Because you don't wanna watch me write a whole paragraph. That's boring. All right, so we're gonna tell it. This is a continuous delivery application. It has some tests you can learn about in this other markdown file I generated, but there are some very obvious gaps if this is to be a production level system that deploys continuously to end users. We wanna make a comprehensive test plan, including prioritization, what we should cover, in the style and model of me, because I want it to do it how I would do it. And conveniently, I know that it already has some of my information because it's on the public internet and it got scraped into an LLM. Fantastic, great. It's already there, there's nothing I can do about it. So may need to look on my web, include a burb about my software guidances, and output a markdown file in the specs folder. All right, we're gonna generate a test plan for this application that I have, for the small set of tests that I have, and it should sound like me. We'll see what it thinks I sound like. Has anybody noticed how it's greeting me? It's funny, but it's also really important. So LLMs work off something called a context window. And the context window has been ever expanding as the models grow more mature. And a context window, we're using mostly Claude here. Claude's context window is 800,000 tokens. A token is about a word. It's really 4 characters. It's about a word. So 800,000 words, more or less. And, oh, it outputted it. So the context window is the brain, is the memory, is the working memory of what your application is trying to do as you're talking to Claude in this case. And it's basically a FIFO queue, more or less. And if you fill it up, it's going to forget the things you talked about in the beginning. It will forget them. It will appear as if it has brain damage. Who has gone down a loop where you're talking to something and you're in a really long chat and it now forgot everything you're trying to do? Yeah, a few you have. That's because you overflowed your context window. So one of the first things I do when I'm talking to LLM is I tell it how it needs to greet me. It's one of the very, very first things. Because if it stops greeting me that way, I know I have overflowed my context window and it's now really stupid. So it's really important that I am able to monitor. And so some IDEs will tell you, hey, this chat's too long. But for me, as soon as I notice it stopped greeting me, time to output what we're doing to a markdown file, open a new chat, restart the context window. So I think it made a spec here. Let's go see. How does you spell spec? That's how you spell it. Where'd you put it? Oh, I didn't tell it to put it in the spec folder. No, it should be in the specs folder. Where'd you put it, dude? Now it's doing it. Keep generating, don't lie to me about it. Sometimes it makes stuff up. Sometimes it does. There we go. Accept the change. Outlines a prioritized production grade test plan for the app, blah, blah, blah. Unit test, goal, fast isolated validation of logic and edge cases. Here's our coverage priority. Here's our gaps. Integration test, validate interactions between components from real level structure. That's true. So API endpoints, recipe endpoints, things to do, end-to-end tests, simulate real user journey, some non-functional tests for reliability. Yeah. Here's a prioritization list, P0, P1, P2s. I agree, I think, authentication. This has none, so that's why it's calling it out. Blah, blah, blah. And then we get into this stuff. So this is true. These are the things I talk about. If you've been in my tutorials, you've been in other sessions, I talk about shift-left testing, production-like testing. I have a real fun pyramid because you have to have a pyramid if you're talking about testing. It's just in our contracts. Yeah, and fail fast. So this is all stuff I talk about. So this is pretty good. It's cool, right? It generated it. But this could be, for all we know, pretty generic advice, right? So what if I wanted another test plan? In this case, in the style of, let's do Jason Arbon. So if you haven't seen Jason speak, he's a big AI guy, loves AI bots, random testing with his bots. They're really cool, but that's his very, very much forte. Chaos testing and especially AI-driven, independent, loosely supervised bots scraping all your stuff and then telling you about it. Let's see what it says about Jason Arbon style. Excel file, automate everything possible. That's different. Exploratory testing, schedule regularly structured exploratory sessions, crowd and AI-driven testing, that's true. Risk-based prioritization, real-world usage patterns, also true. Automated regression, exploratory testing, in CI/CD, and then is this Jason's view? Yeah, kinda. It's pretty close. It's not the same as what it generated for me. It's its own unique thing. So that's great. But how would you write it for advice from Andy Knight, the Automation Panda? How would Andy test this? Here's how Andy would test it. It's generating, it's thinking about it. If it doesn't say something about Playwright, I'm gonna be suspicious. Or BDD. It's gotta at least say one of those things. It's generating, it's thinking. It's thinking. Aha, here's one from Andy Knight, the Automation Panda. Oh, BDD. Here we go. Unit tests, integration tests, end-to-end tests. Spec flow or cucumber for Gherkin. This does sound like another opinion on how to write tests. From Andy Knight, the Automation Panda. Let's do one more that's gonna be a little different than the ones we've done so far, and then we're gonna ask the AI what it wants to implement. So of the test software test expert, Michael Bolton, who has a different view. Again, there's no good or bad here, there's just different. And there's what needs to suit our needs the best. That's it. So we're gonna have it generate one more, and then we're gonna hold the race. Who's gonna win? Who's the AI gonna pick? What's it gonna implement? And we're gonna implement some tests. See where we go here. It's thinking, it's thinking, it's thinking. All right, here we have one in Michael Bolton style. Where is it? Right here. Sure, accept the file. Emphasizes skilled human judgment, critical thinking, adaptability to context rather than script or automation. Who here knows, has seen Michael Bolton speak about it? Yeah, this sounds pretty accurate. Exploratory testing, context-driven testing, skilled human testers. What are the question-driven testing? Automation is a tool for exploring and checking. Yeah, I hit on the right keywords. Areas of focus, yeah. Seems about right. All right. So now that we have 4 different test plans, how long did it take us to generate 4 test plans that are accurate to our code base, that are correct-ish, right? They're probably 90% of the way there. We could make some edits if we were going to really go deeper. It took us, what, 10 minutes to generate 4 different automation plans in 4 different styles that are pretty accurate to the styles we asked for. So these are great. Let's look at the 4 test plans we have. Remember that we are in a continuous delivery system, and we need to do some automation, probably, to ensure, well, that's leading. That's leading. I can't tell it needs to do automation. We need to be very sure that goes out the door is good for our customers. The checks need to be very fast. What is the best test plan we could implement in our code base here? Meet our needs. I'm gonna give it the comprehensive test plans just to make sure it knows what I'm talking about. Or not. That's fine. All right. Let's see which test plan it thinks it can implement the most. So strengths, focuses, fit for CD. Oh, it combined us. That's sweet. I ran this last night and it just straight up said, Andy Knight's the best. The rest of them are bad. So today we got a more gentle answer, and that's part of the fun of working with the AI. You don't know what you're gonna get. What part of my phrasing had some implicit bias that led it to do one thing over the other? Surely there was something, right? I led it to this answer, and then also I threw a dash random. Okay, so it says, here's the test plan we should adopt. Automation first, fast, reliable, on the test pyramid, using BDD. Guess it likes BDD. Makes sense, an AI would like BDD. Continuously improved, and then maybe some manual testing as a supplement, not a gate. Very true, if you're in a CD system, you cannot have manual testing as your primary gate. It's not enough manual, at least not unless you got an army of bots, I guess. One day, Jason will prove us all wrong. All right, so great. Let's output this combined test plan into a spec in the folder. So we're gonna put it into the spec in the folder, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a new chat because I'm suspicious of this one. It's got a lot of words in it. And we are gonna start writing some automation. So what should we automate first? What should we try? All the things. Can't be all the things. If you tell the AI to automate all the things, what are we gonna get? Bad things. We're gonna get garbage. It's going to be a whole lot of garbage, and it's going to spin around on garbage. So, okay, there, made the spec. Yay. Oh, now it's going to make a pull request for me. No, thank you. All right, there's the comprehensive test plan, optimal. Here it is. I'm actually going to open it this way. Here it is, automated practice, blah, blah, blah. Great, fantastic. So we're gonna make a new chat now and say, we have a test plan in at comprehensive test plan CD optimal that we want to implement. Can you make a plan for me for what you would implement first based on what is actually in the tests right now? We want to have rapid iteration that shows value. Part of success for you is that code compiles and all the tests pass. Make the plan before you write any code, please, because that would be tragic. You cannot just let your intern go wild. You can't say, hey intern, here's a code base. I'll see you in 12 weeks, have fun. It is not the way to success with your intern. Okay, so here it's made a plan. It's gonna do first, look at my current test coverage, make some minimal tests. Yes, this is a good plan. Stop after you complete step 3. Go for it. Do a thing, I don't know, see what happens. So now it's gonna really think about, I give it a little bit of constraint, but not much, because I'm interested to see what it thinks it needs to automate first. I don't know, could be good, could be bad, could be interesting. So now again, it's searching my code base, it has the RAG, it knows what is in my code base, it knows what the changes are. By the way, the next most exciting thing that's coming is not just this RAG, which is just text searching, right? You see it says searching and listing a lot. So the next step is actual compile time dependencies. So it builds up the actual compile tree, the symbol tree of what you have. So instead of matching strings of text, this string of this name is probably the same as this name, it can actually look at the whole dependency tree so it doesn't have to guess. So some of the IDEs are playing with that already. Windsurf is one that can authoritatively say code is actually this thing and not we think probably this code is this thing. Because remember, the more specific you can get, what are you doing, dude? Implement. Do it. Just start building, man. Why are you making a TRX file? Why do you want that? Nobody wants that. Oh, it found one. Okay, I guess we do want that. Sometimes it's right. Sometimes it's smarter than me. Oh, made 5 tests. They failed. Here's what happened. Here's why it went really wrong. Okay, seriously. Okay. Oh, because they're not running. Right, they're not running. I'll fix that. So it apparently decided integration tests were the most valuable thing to do. That's fine. It also decided that integration tests need obviously a service running, and the service isn't running, so I'm going to make it run. I'm going to make it run, and then they should pass. And it offered to make a script for me, but that was not in its constraints, and I told it to stop, and that would be a weird thing to start rewriting my architecture, so it's good that it stopped, right? It stopped itself before it went into crazy town land. So we're writing tests, it's up and running. Oh, it's almost up and running. Takes about 30 seconds. I'm going to tell it to do it again. Trying again, I started the application myself. Do it again. Run it, run it, run it. Let's see. Oh snap, they passed. Dude. 33 of 33 tests. Okay, let's see what it wrote. I actually have no idea what it wrote. I'm not sure it actually wrote anything. Did you actually write any tests? No, I didn't. That was very suspicious. No. It did. So again, this is what I told it to do. I said minimal changes only. Don't do what I didn't ask you to do. And it interpreted that as, well, you told me to do the least amount. The least amount is 0. That's correct, right? The least amount is 0. Okay, make more tests. At least one new integration or unit test, please. Pick whatever seems important, just make one. Right? We trust, but we verify. And we trust, but we verify. Just write one. Just write one, come on. There we go, now it's writing something. So it's gonna write a service test. Okay, this is great. It's got some mocks. Now it's running them again. Oh, that test doesn't work. Did not mock it correctly. Minimum fix set the bake address to be correct. That's true. So it's taking feedback from, this is agentic. Well, I don't know, Don, is this agentic or is this just sparkling automation? Okay, it's a little bit sparkling automation. It's true. Brand new unit test was added. Okay, now it's passing, it fixed it. Right, so in the time I said, do something, please, anything, it did it, it wrote it wrong first, it looked at why it was wrong, and then said, oh, I got this, and it fixed it. And it's true, it did fix it. So created this test, verifies that this thing returns false, it's an API failure, and that's true. It's a meaningful negative path coverage. So we are now, that took what, 12 minutes? We generated some test plans, we picked what we needed out of the test plans, and we said, just please implement something. And now we have a working unit test, 12 minutes later. I still don't even, I could do this by myself, of course I could, right? I could write a unit test, but I don't need to. I don't need to know what my tests do, it can tell me about them. Should I verify, because has it lied to us at least twice? Yeah, it's definitely lied to us at least twice, but on the way to doing something really meaningful. So the tests are working, look, we did that. Look how fast that was. Let's do one more thing. All right, so here's the last set of changes it made. This is the test it added. Did that how it fixed it? No, I did that. All right, so yeah, it added the secondary test down here, which it did, it's true, it's running. All right, we should do one more thing. We should implement a feature. What feature should we add to this recipe site? We can add anything. Sharing, we could add sharing. Any other ideas? Reading systems, yeah. I hear favorites back there. Okay, we're gonna add favoriting. So we're gonna start a new chat because it's a bad idea to reuse this one. We want to add a favorites feature to this application. It needs to be in the front end and the back end. Means that each recipe can be favorited by a user. We want users to be able to favorite recipes only. Oh, it's a pretty good spec, right? We want to add favorites in the front end and the back end. Recipe can be favorited by a user. We want users to be able to filter by favorite recipes only in the UI. Anything else we should add about this? Favorites should be denoted with some kind of visual indicator in the list view and the details view in the front end. You should be able to see that something is a favorite. Probably important. Again, if we don't tell the AI this, it's going to make a guess. Would it guess that we needed that? Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? All right, go to town, friend. All right, here's a plan. Here's the data model, add a way to track which things are favorited in the API, in the front end, reuse existing API patterns. Yep. Go for it. Do it. I always like it to stop and tell me it's planned before it does things because otherwise it just starts doing stuff. All right, it's checking the branch, it's doing some things, reading some more things. I promised you vibes. We got vibes, we got the music going. We got all the stuff moving. This is the code it wrote so far. Get back here. Looking for favorite if it already exists. It does not, spoiler alert, but it's looking anyway just in case it can reuse because I told it it needed to reuse stuff. So it's reusing stuff, we're generating, and we're working. It'll have a PR for us in a minute. So who here has done vibe coding? Like has played with it? A little bit, right? So have you generated anything production level out of it? No? A few of you, mostly not. You can. It just takes practice. And it takes getting really, really, really good with your context and your constraints. All you've seen me do over and over and over again is manage the context, set up constraints. Unit tests have to pass. That's a constraint. Don't make a bunch of crazy changes. That's a constraint. Here's a pattern to use. There's a context. All right, it found all the things it wants to change. It's adding something to the back end. That seems good. Adding something to the data model. That seems fine. What else is it going to do? Adding something to the interface. Yes, we need that interface into our API layer. That's good. Looks correct-ish. Oh, it's going to do some querying. I see we're using link. No, don't stop. Keep going. So Cursor has a fun thing where after 25 calls, it just stops and is like, are you sure? Because that's a lot of calls. You can tell it, yeah, I'm sure, and you can go up for many, many more. Oh, it's done. Backend models and service interface are now ready. Cool, keep going. All right, so the backend is now done. We looked at, we saw it as it did it. Seems right. Keep going. Now it's going to update my controller, so we're going to set up the API layer next, which is important. That's how anybody would implement a new feature, right? You do the backend first, right? Get into the data layer, then make your APIs, and then make your front end. Reasonable choices. Reasonable choices. Okay, it's adding some things. It's compiling because I told it needed to. It all compiles. Fantastic. Now it's going to tell me to do the front end probably. Keep going. Oh, now we're doing the front end. All right. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Look at all this code it wrote. Oh, yep, the details page. Keep going. Keep going. We can do this. We can do it. We can do it. Let's go LLM. We can do it. It's making some stuff. I'm getting ready to run it. It's making more stuff. It's updating. I told it to update all these pages, so it's updating all these pages. It's now checking the build. Build compiles. Cool. Build compiles. We're now running, oh, it's running my test for me. Good thing, oh, that's okay. It beat me to getting the service up. So here's what we did. We did the back end. We did the front. Oh, we used a heart icon. That's cute. Let's see. Okay, we're starting up right now. And with any luck, we're going to see some new stuff on this web page. What do you think? Is it going to work? Yeah, maybe. Maybe it could work. It's thinking. We're almost there. Oh, we're up. All right, it's still a beautiful shade of blue. We're going to log in with our beautiful shade of blue. We look at our recipes. Look, here's our little heart icon that you can't read because we made it such a beautiful shade of blue. But it's right here, and if you look at the details, here it is, and we can say favorite it, and now the heart icon lit up. Hey, so we just vibe coded this whole feature. How long was that? 6 minutes, 5 minutes? It was correct, it passed the tests. I don't know if we made new tests, but it passed the existing test, it compiled, and it deployed. So did I write any technical code into what I was telling it? No. Did I use its own knowledge to help it understand the technical details of the code base? Yes. Right? So I used it to tell me all the technical pieces, and then I could talk to it. You know, again, this is a pretty simple code base. It's not too crazy, but I used it as its own tool. I used it as a lever to build my own technical understanding of what happened, to build its own technical understanding of what tests it had so that I could apply my expertise and guide it towards what it needed to do to help me be effective in hitting my goals, right? My goal was I need to make this thing gorgeous, and I need to add this feature. And we were able to do it. We started vibe coding about 30 minutes ago, and we did all these things in 30 minutes. Not a lot of pre-prep, most of it was live. It was literally real responses coming from the LLM, right? I had pre-prepped almost nothing. And I was able to guide it into the style I wanted, into what success wanted, into all the pieces that we needed to make this thing actually work. So this is what I hope for all of you today. I want all of you to be AI superpower users. Because you can, and because it will make you so effective. You don't have to be a coder, you don't have to be a dev, but you do need to start using these tools to understand those pieces so that you can be super, super duper effective at all your jobs. All right, thank you guys.
I told you she was a badass. That was amazing, Melissa. Thank you so much for whipping that up in no time. That was a lot of fun to see that going live and giving everybody an insight in how to do this. And if you come to AICon in Seattle, there's a really good chance that Melissa might run a vibe coding lab at the conference.
Vibes. Good
all
music,
vibes.
all vibes.
Yes, yes. So you can learn some more firsthand. And I'm sure she'll know a whole lot more in 4 weeks.
Yeah, this could be totally different in 4 weeks. I don't know.
Awesome. Okay, thank you very much.